Thank you, Sahir sir.
Thank you all.
I only took time, Dr. Manoj, I only took time to introduce about the coaching seminar.
Yes,
That's
yes.
why I got delayed.
Yes, IFH is very much thankful to you, sir, for your efforts.
Yeah.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to the 1811th day of continuous uninterrupted Zoom session of IFPH. Let us start today's program with a silent prayer for a minute. Thank you and welcome back. Today we have with us Dr. Nirav Bhatt, PhD, MD, Homeopathy, Principal, Northern Homeopathy Medical College and Hospital, Visnagar, Gujarat, Chief Physician, Soham Homeopathy Clinic and Healing Center, Gujarat. And the topic is Dr. James, Life of Dr. James Taylor Kent. It's a real wonderful episode, no doubt about that. Unfortunately, only a few persons paid attention and respect to this great man, Dr. James Taylor Kent, who made the monumental works, the homeopathy philosophy, the repertory, and lectures on homeopathy materia medica. Today also we have participants lesser number. It indicates our approach towards this great subject, homeopathic philosophy. Everybody is practicing homeopathy, as rightly mentioned by Dr. Dunham. Those lose no opportunity to fleece from her storehouse secretly, at the same time openly revealing her. You may be remembering all these sentences. So on behalf of IFH, I welcome sir. You can on the platform for the next 40 minutes.
Thank you very much, sir. It is privilege to be a part of IUPH, sir. Sir, can you make me a host so I can share my screen?
Yes, you are co-host. You can share that, please.
Yeah, so very good evening to all of you. Thank you very much for the IUPH to giving me this opportunity to speak on the legend Dr. James Taylor Kent. Actually, I choose this particular topic for showing us some different aspect of Dr. J.T. Kent, sir. Right, the majority of us are knowing the life and legacy of J.T. Kent, sir, what he did and how he became a greatest homeopath after Honeyman. But I have tried to collect certain types of document and review the lesser writing specifically of J.T. Kent, sir, and made some conclusion like that I am going to discuss today. So initially, as we know that the James Kent, Taylor Kent, sir, was born on the 31st of March 1849 in Woodhall, New York, USA. And his early life laid the foundation of his significant contribution to the medicine, and completed his graduation from the Medicine University and earned the AM degree. Later on, from the Bilbao, he have completed his medical college and got the degree of Doctor of Medicine. Right. So many a times this particular portion were somewhere missing. And later on, afterwards, in 1873, as he have graduated from the Cincinnati, Ohio, to become an eclectic physician or eclectic school of practice, which was prevailing at that time. Now, this particular eclectic school, as we know that during the 17th century, the eclectic school was basically practiced by the existing practitioner as a part of the things which are not stuck, or where we are not stuck to the something. This basically word eclectic came from the Greek word eklektikos, means selective, right? Whenever there is when you are opting for anything which is not fixed, that particular school is considered as a eclectic school of a practice. So, as we know that after completion of his eclectic practice, as he have graduated, he have started to practice on the basis of eclectic school, where it is made up of herbal medicines. And in 1874, Dr. Kent married Ellen and settled in the St. Louis, Missouri. And during that time, unfortunate event happened, and the first wife, Ellen, got expired at the age of 19, shortly after their marriage. So after this setback, he have started his practice as a eclectic school of practice, and he was a elective member and president of the Eclectic National Medical Association also. This particular period was marked his initial foray into the medical field before his transformation, which was part of the homeopathy. Now, after 2 years, a turning point, which is, as we all aware, that what exactly happened with him, right? When he married a second time with a Lucy, right, to whom he was deeply devoted, and their life together was soon challenged by the severeness. So this example was known by the each and every fraternity of homeopathy, how Lucy become ill and suffering from the insomnia, nervous weakness, and anemia. So Dr. J.T. Kent have tried all the existing school of practice as a part of treatment, but she was not improving at all. And finally, when Dr. Fallon came in the picture, when Dr. Lucy identified the popularity of Dr. Fallon, and she have invited Dr. Fallon to come and visit for her chronic complaint, and that was the point where the revolution take place in the field of homeopathy, as we are quite aware. So I don't want to go into the detail of that particular event, when Kent have observed that after taking medicine she was already sleeping, and that particular event made Dr. Kent to rethink about what is this homeopathy and how these tiny pills were able to cure the condition of my wife. And by the time when Dr. Kent have visited to remind her to take a pill of homeopathy, she was sleeping perfectly. So this particular phase, this particular event made Dr. Kent to think about what is this homeopathy, and periodically from that moment onward, he was directly in contact with Dr. Fallon and studied the organon. So this particular portion we all know very well. So Dr. Richard Fallon, a renowned physician of that era, strongly opposed the consultation, as Dr. Kent have identified that the way Dr. Fallon have raised a different type of a question, and that was little bit annoying for Dr. J.T. Kent. But after receiving that treatment, when Dr. Kent identified that the Lucy is improving like anything, so from that moment onward, Richard Fallon came in contact with a homeopathy and with Dr. Fallon. So from that moment onward, he realized that there is a belief in the homeopathy which was raised by him, and Dr. Kent become convinced that homeopathy was the only medicinal system addressing the fundamental cause of illness. Because the fundamental cause, as beautifully stated by Honeyman also, so he have identified that if any system which is able to cure any particular condition, whether it is acute or a chronic one, specifically chronic one from the roots, then it needs to be only a homeopathy. So he was quite believed that the fundamental cause of illness can be removed through the homeopathy. So his commitment to the homeopathy shaped his professional journey and the contribution. So again, in the second phase, he lost again Lucy, which was second wife. In 1880, she have passed away, and from that moment onward, Kant have utilized, Dr. J.T. Kant have started to work out, particularly in the phase of homeopathy. And then the phase when came where he have started to practice in the Pennsylvania. He was earlier he was a professor of the anatomy, and later on he became a professor of materia medica also. So Dr. Kent's life was further enriched by the Louis Tobey, right? That is Clara Louis Tobey, a doctor who became a homeopath after being treated by him. And then she later became his wife and played a crucial role in the helping him complete his famous work on homeopathy. Now here I would like to draw a little bit point, that is Clara Louise Tube was basically a firm believer of a Swedenborgian philosophy. Right, so as we are quite aware that what is the influence of a Swedenborg over a Kant, right? So during that time, the Swedenborgian practice was practicing in the 18th century by the United States of America. So they were quite opposite of bloodletting, then mercury treatment. So this Swedenborgian philosophy or a Swedenborgian philosopher, the day by day popularity of a Swedenborgian philosophy was increasing, and there were many, more than 10,000 practitioners at that time who were practicing on the basis of a Swedenborgian philosophy. So why that, majority time our teacher used to teach us that the Kant philosophy is based on a Swedenborgian philosophy. But what Swedenborg exactly did, that we are going to consider in the further portion, that the how Swedenborgian philosophy have make a larger impact on the Dr. J.T. Kant's mind, and he has stuck, or he have thoroughly followed all the dogmas, all the principles, all the landmarks which were raised by the Swedenborg, and later on he have developed many of them, right? So from this point onward, on the 6th June, like in 1910, Dr. James Tyler Kent passed away due to bright disease at the age of 67 in Montana, and leaving behind an enduring legacy for his fellow homeopath and the field of medicine. Now that is the and where the Dr. Kent unfortunately passed away due to the bright disease. Now my principal concern here to discuss or to narrate or to demonstrate two different points which I'm going to discuss. First point which I'm going to state that the first point which I'm going to state that the three greatest quality which is owned by Master Kent, right? As Dr. Master Kent was a particularly dogmatist, anti-materialist, and the religious moralist. Now, this particular three principles or three different qualities which is owned by Dr. J.T. Kent, that has given a lot of things which we are able to identify in the lesser writing of Dr. J.T. Kent, minor writing of J.T. Kent, as well as in the Kantian philosophy also. So I would like to, is it visible, sir, or should I enlarge the form?
No, sir, visible, no problem.
Okay. So these are the certain points which were reflecting that how Dr. J.T. Kent was considered as a pure, the dogmatist. The following quotes from the Kant aphorism and precepts, I think, convey the flavor of his dogmatism. When you see failure, you may be sure that they are within yourself. If you think the failure is in homeopathy, you will begin your correction on the wrong side of the laser. As beautifully quoted by Dr. J.T. Kent, that the whatever failure which we are identifying, ultimately, who is failing? Homeopath failing. There is no failure in the homeopathy. Then the eternal principles themselves are authority. The law of similar is a divine law. So soon as you have accepted the law of similars, so soon have you accepted the providence, which is the law and order. So whatever the cardinal principles which were raised by our greatest master, Dr. Samuel Christian Hahnemann, here further emphasizes the significance and importance of the law of similar and further different laws which are given by our master Hahnemann. The outer world is the world of result. The inner world is not a discovery by the senses, but by the understanding. Now, here also you are able to identify the Swedenborgian philosophy, where the Swedenborg was the person who have identified many structures of anatomy, particularly related to the brain, related to the frontal cortex, related to the neuron, related to the three different aspects that we are going to consider further. There are two worlds, the world of thoughts of immaterial substance and the world of matter or a material substance. So he was very clear in as far as immaterial substance and material substance. There is an innermost to everything that exists, or the outermost could not be. So he have emphasized that the whatever, like, it is a famous phrase, will and understanding constitutes a man, right? So the innermost portion, which is comprising of your will and understanding, in a later portion, why that particular phrase came, that we are going to discuss. One cannot afford to be liberal with the principles, right? So you can here see the what amount of dogmatism he was adopting. You cannot make any type of a compromise, or any type of liberty cannot be taken up when you are dealing with the homeopathy and when you are dealing with the different principle. So this quotes indicates a rather fixed position relating to the theory, and thus rather puritanical or dogmatic attitude. The whole tone throughout Kant's lecture is insistently dogmatic, inflexible, certain, and dictatorial. These qualities doubtless derive in part of Hahnemann himself, but they have been rekindled, restated, and reasserted repeatedly by the leaders of movement down the years, especially by J.T. Kant. So the initial portion was given by the Hahnemann, but J.T. Kant was the person who have consistently given all this principle or importance of being dogmatic, inflexible, certain, and in a dictatorial way. The homeopathic principles, when known, are plain, simple, and easily comprehended. They are in harmony with all things known to be true, right? So he is emphasizing that the whatever homeopathic principles which are there, they are very plain, they are very simple, and we are likely to have an easily comprehension of all those principles which were laid by Hahnemann sir. Beware of the opinion of man of science. Hahnemann has given us a principles which we can study and advance upon. It is the law which governs the world and not matter of opinion or hypothesis. So here also beautifully Dr. Kant have tried to correlate that the whatever principles which were laid by Hahnemann that are given in an advanced form. Now what we need to do, we need to stick to those principles, and by as they are the law, so they are going to govern the world, and whatever the other opinion and hypothesis which are related to those laws are negligible. This means law, it means Fick's principle. It means law as a certain as that of gravitation, not guesswork, empiricism, or roundabout method, or cut and dried use of drug. Our principles have never changed. They have always been the same and will remain the same. So again, a dogmatic quality which we can reflect here. Man today is destroyed as to his interior, so that the truth looks as black as smoke and false philosophy as bright as sun. Right, so this is also a very important quote which was given by J.T. Kant, like whatever the truth or as far as homeopathy is concerned or different principles are concerned, they are looking very black as a smoke, while the other false philosophy, they are looking bright as the sun. So we can consider that the what amount of dogmatic qualities or sticking to the dogma, sticking to the principles where adopted by the Dr. J.T. Kant, and he have insisted in his lesser writing or in his any literature book that we need to stick to those principles for a flourished homeopathic practice. Then the second qualities which he is owing, that is the anti-materialist, right? So here also the anti-materialistic quality which is reflected by Dr. Kant in a different form. Kant said that the doctors have no business whatever to be down in the sewers looking for the cause of disease, but should correct the vital force. So whatever emphasization was given in aphorism 910 related to the qualities of the vital force. So ultimately vital force which is governing the mind, body, and soul So we are likely to treat only the deviated form of a vital force, and the rest of the responsibility will be taken care by the vital force. So these are the following quotes from the Kant's New Remedies clinical cases that will prove that the what amount of anti-materialistic mind he is owing. The tendency for a human mind to run after the visible that can be felt with the finger leads one to adopt foolish theories like the bacteria doctrine and the molecular theory. So whatever the component, whatever the portion which he was practicing, and he was in a very firmly believer that the whatever the things which are visible, then we should run behind it, or our prescription should be based on those things which can be seen by the eyes or heard by your ears or examined by your fingers, rather than believing the theory of a bacteria or a microorganism. He is not at all in that favor, or he is considering that it was the foolish theory which was laid by that time. Most doctors have gone crazy over the vicious microbes as being the cause of the disease and think the little fellows are exceedingly dangerous. As a matter of fact, they are the scavengers. So beautifully, again, as Dr. Kant have written, I think Dr. H. Robert have also explained this particular portion, and Dr. Stuart Close have also correlated this particular portion, that the microorganisms are nothing but they are considered to be a scavengers, and whatever the portion, whatever the work which is performed by the scavengers, those microbes or microorganisms are likely to perform that work only. The microbes is not the cause of disease. We should not be carried away by this ideal allopathic dreams and vain imagination, but should correct the vital force. Again, as you can see that the importance should be given to the vital force, or whenever there is a deviation of vital force, then and then only any disease can generate or any disease can develop, rather than considering that the some of the intruder
Excuse
have
me, sir.
attacked the body
Excuse
from
me,
the.
sir. Your screen
Yes, sir.
is not moving, sir, now. I think you are discussing or the
Yeah, sir.
the screen is not moving.
Which portion is readable, sir?
I think now the dogmatist, the anti-materialist and religious moralist. Three greatest qualities.
Okay, just a minute.
Yes, this is yes. I think you are discussing, not screen sharing now, isn't it?
Is it?
Yes, now it is visible, the 3 points, the dogmatist, the anti-materialist, the religious moralist. The greatest qualities owned by Master Kent. I think only there are 10 slides in your presentation, isn't it, sir?
Just a minute, sir. Now, sir?
Yes, it's visible, sir, yes.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Sorry for the interruption.
No problem, sir. No. Yes, please position.
Yeah, so as we were discussing about the qualities which were related with the anti-materialists, right? So we have discussed lastly the point which is related with the microbes is not the cause of disease, or ultimately they are considered as the scavengers. So ultimately any chronic disease which is developing, that is developing due to the chronic diseases like psoriasis, psychosis and syphilis. It is not from external things that man becomes sick, not from bacteria nor environment, but from the cause within himself. Right. So again, here you can identify the what amount of anti-materialistic qualities which were owned by the Dr. J.T. Kant. Whenever a man becomes sick, so ultimately none of the microorganism, nor even as per Kantian philosophy or as per Kantian principle, not even environment also, only the cause which is responsible, that is that himself or herself is responsible, and that is also within. Save the life of the patient first and don't worry about the bacteria. They are the senseless things, right? So he was in favor of he was not at all in favor of any amount of a microorganism theory which was flourishing at that time. He was only considering that whenever you want to treat, don't run behind the microbes, only treat an individual from within, and ultimately you are likely to give the curative result to the patient. There is a insanity in the science of the present day because they want something that in its aggregate will be large enough to be felt with the finger, right? So again, he is trying to suggest the modern science which was developing during that time, and again trying to convey that the whatever with the examination which you are able to observe, that is the ultimate for the framing of your totality, or for the perception of your patient's case. The bacterium is an innocent faller, and if he carries disease, he carries the simple substance which cause disease, just as any elephant would, right? So here again he is trying to correlate that the whatever microorganism theory which is popping up, you should not give any amount of importance to the microorganism theory, but give importance to the vital force, give importance to the person whom you are treating, and ultimately you are likely to get the success. And the third greatest quality, that is the religious moralist. We don't have to search very hard to find the mass of religious ideas within the homeopathy which illustrate how puritanical and moralizing homeopathy tends to be. The following quotes from the Kant's lecture and aphorism reveals a very rich theme of a such material. You cannot divorce medicine and theology. Man exists all the way down from his innermost spiritual to his outermost nature. So man exists all the way down from his innermost spiritual. So the weightage of a spiritual, or the individual's will, how much important, that is shown in this particular phrase. A man who cannot believe in God cannot become a homeopath. Sorry, as we know that the Kant was basically from the Baptist family, so that religious influence from the very beginning, he have identified this religious influence. So he was a firm believer that to become a good homeopath, a person should be a person should have a religious thoughts in his mind. The body become corrupt because man's interior will become corrupt. So again, the will and understanding, the portion is going to reflect here that the body will going to get corrupt, or body will going to have a diseases only in those conditions, only in those circumstances when the will become a corrupt. Man become disposed to sickness by doing evil through thinking wrong, right? So again, sickness is whatever the sickness is which is developing in the any type of an individual, that is by thinking wrong, committing wrong, or executing wrong. Sora is the evolution of the state of man's will, the ultimate of sin. So as we know that the famous example which he have quoted in, as far as the Adam, Eve and serpentine theory. So I don't want to go into the detail of the same, but whatever the ultimately diseases which is developing on the somatic plane, the culprit is the deviation of a will. This outgrowth which has come upon man from living a life of evil willing is a Sora. So as we know that we used to teach a lot to our students that the Sora is a hydra-headed monster, Sora is a mother of all diseases. So in that regards, he particularly very clear that the what amount of importance should be given to the will, and whenever there is a deviation of a will identify, that is the moment from which the disease is going to originate it. So here that is justifiable with the more explanation. Thinking, willing and doing are the three things in life from which finally proceed the chronic miasm. So here I have tried to correlate any chronic miasm which is developing, it is due to this three phenomena: when a person thinks, whenever a person wills, and whenever a person is doing the same things. If consistently, if he is doing this, then there is a chronic evolution of chronic miasm is going to develop. Had Sora never been established as a miasm upon the human race, susceptibility to acute disease would have been impossible. It is the foundation of all sickness. So he is trying to correlate that the what amount of significance should be given to the Sora, because it is the foundation of all sickness. Sora is a state of susceptibility to disease from the willing evils. The human race today, walking the face of the earth, is but little better than the moral leper. Such is the state of human mind at the present day. To put it another way, everyone is sorry. So, as Honeyman is also used to state that everyone, each and everyone is a soric individual, and it is very much difficult to eradicate Sora from the human generation. So same thing which is trying to be quoted by Dr. J.T. Kent. Sora would not exist in a perfectly healthy race, right? If any human being is a healthy one, then Sora would not exist. As long as man continued to think that which was true and held that which was good to the neighbor, that which was uprightness and justice, so long man remained free from disease, because that was the state in which he was created. Now, this portion is also very beautifully explained by Dr. J.T. Kent, that if a person is remaining true with his neighbor, without any jealousy, without any type of emotions which are considered as a morbid, then that are the portion which are uprightness and justice, and that is the form in which any human being is having a created, or any human being is having the birth. The internal state of man is prior to that which surrounds him. Therefore, the environment is not the cause. So, as we have earlier also stated, that according to Dr. J.T. Kent, environment is never playing any crucial role in a chronic diseases. As far as acute is concerned, obviously they are likely to develop. But if we are considering any chronic diseases, then there is none of the role played by any environmental factor, because the internal state of man is prior to that which surround him. So rather than accusing any surrounding environment, it is always better to think about the person and his internal state. If we are able to identify the internal state of that individual, then we are bound to get the success. Disease correspond to the man's affection, and the disease upon the human race today are but the outward expression of man's interior. Man hates his neighbor. He is willing to violate every commandment. Such is the state of man today. This state is represented in a man's disease. Again, the extension of the same, the previous line, that the disease is always correspond to the man's affection, and the disease upon the human race today are the outward expression of man's interior, right? So as we know that the morbid will and morbid understanding, what they are able to create, what they are able to evaluate the disease in the individual, that is what he have opined. Sora is the beginning of all the physical sickness, is the underlying cause, and is the primitive or primary disorder of the human race, right? So we know it very well. Honeyman have beautifully explained all this thing, but he was quite convinced that the whatever diseases, whichever diseases which are developing in the human race, that particular diseases are developed only due to the influence of a Sora. For it goes to the very primitive wrong of a human race, the very first sickness of the human race, that is the spiritual sickness, which in turn laid the foundation of other disease. So we are quite knowing the spiritual sickness. I think it is abundantly clear from this quotes that Kant took a very puritanical and moral line about the origin of disease within the human race, and he apparently felt that Sora was equivalent to original sin or the fall of man. That is the clear implication of the above remarks he made. He got himself into this strange position very largely from insisting that homeopathy necessarily involves a religious dimension which places a moral duty upon the practitioner, and thus the homeopath has morally redeeming influence through the cure. Thus, he viewed homeopath as a godly savior who dispenses spiritual as well as physical cures, and that illness is stemmed from the corrupted state of mind which homeopathy can cure. Kant's logic is rather like all sick men are bad. Socrates is sick, therefore Socrates is bad. But in his case, he control all sickness originates from the internal causes. Internal causes are spiritual, therefore all the sicknesses has a spiritual basis. And then from there, he equates internal and spiritual cause as the miasm. Thus, in his view, the miasms are to be viewed as a internal spiritual sins or derivatives of them. He also ours another line of argument: all disease cause, that is inner world, are invisible and nebulous. Now why we should give a potentized medicine, and that too in a higher potency? That explanation can be considered here. That the he also another line argument: all diseases causes inner world are invisible and nebulous. All potentized remedies are of a similar nature. Thus potentized substance, and especially the higher potencies, are the only means of curing diseases. By reaching into the subtle interior realm or a disease cause, this also leads to his repeated adage of a higher the deeper. This probably also formed the basis for his strong advocacy and use of a very highest potencies. In this manner, we can analyze and dissect Kant's brand of a homeopathy. Lastly, like in the medieval church mind, Kant shows remarkable devotion to deductive logic and apparent ignorance of a induction of knowledge based upon the experiment, data, and the evidence of the sense, to which he also remains either oblivious or contemptuous. There are some good parallels between Kant and Thomas Aquinas, in that both treat their subject matter with the immense reverence to receive dogma, which cannot even be questioned, and then build upon the basis of tower of speculation and philosophy. Both also tends to direction of a rigid dogmatism, excessive preciousness, jealous devotion to truth as received knowledge, not as a freedom of thought or a experimentation, towards which both seems utterly opposed. And lastly, I would contend that the Puritan idea within the homeopathy and in the medicine generally is correctly invoked by the Kant. In the illness tends to be regarded by many of us an unwanted evil which must be cleansed out of the system by the healer. In most culture, the healer is thus viewed as an agent of divine assistance. So this is as far as in regards to the dogmas which were the qualities which were owned by the Dr. J.T. Kant. Now, one more thing which I would like to show you, that is, okay, this is one article which I have taken from the journal IJ Ayush, International Journal of Ayush. Now, the why I choose this particular article, because many a times we were taught that the Kant was the influencer of a practicing or solely on the basis of a mental symptoms, or the mental symptoms were the considered only by the JT Kant, and he used to practice all his practice on the basis of mental symptom. So this particular article have given me a lot of informative information which were not there with me. Like for example, if we consider the Kant's lesser writing, then total there are 111 cases were there. So I would like to show you the analysis pertaining to the cases. We have studied actual cases from the Kant, which include as a part of his lesser writing. There are 111 in number. Here we have tried to see the prescription style of Kant and his dependence of the general, especially the mental general symptom, and for the final selection of the remedy. Right. So among this, if we consider here, there are certain cases which are given, but the important portion which I would like to particularly address, that is out of 111 cases, there were 5 cases which were discussed. So statistical analysis of this particular research study, this is a retrospective studies which was done on the Kant's lesser writing by Dr. Partha Rai. So we have numbered serially, hence cases are total 111. 5 serials are not clinical but discussion or a demonstration. Right. So total cases which were given by Dr. Kant was 106, while the 5 were demonstrated. The cases demonstration was given. Here the summary, how many, which are the different drugs which are given, while in the different cases of 111, pulsatilla were given at the highest time, then sulfur followed by phosphorus. You can refer a table and by which we are able to get the idea: tuberculinum, tarantula, lachesis, lyco, natrum sulf, kali sulf, and so on. Gradually number goes down. The number, highest number which was given by J.T. Kant was a pulsatilla. Then this is in regards to the potency. If you consider the potency, then 44 cases, in the 44 cases, 10M potency were utilized by Dr. J.T. Cancer. Then in 33 cases, it was a CM potency, while in 24 cases, it was a LM potency or a 50 millisiemal potency. Now, here, this is the particular portion which I would love to address, or I would like you to be attentive. Here, out of 111 cases, the mental symptom are collected or mentioned. Mental symptom are mentioned in only 17 cases, while mental symptoms which are not mentioned, there were 94 cases. Right? So this is only mental symptom mentioned. But if we go further down, then the prescription which is based on a mental symptom, purely on a mental symptom, they were only 6. Right? There were only 6 cases. There were only 6 cases on the basis of where the prescription based on a mental symptom, while 105 cases which were not based on a particular aspect of a mental symptom. So majority time, what exactly happens, that the percolation of message to the fraternity as well as from the teacher to the student and to the teachers, that we were quite giving information in that way that the mental symptoms are the key symptom to repertorize the case with the Kant's repertory, right? But the similar experience when we retrospectively observed through this research analysis which was done by Dr. Partho Rai of Maharashtra, then we realized, then we came to know that the only 6 symptoms where Dr. Kant have utilized his expertise as a part of a considering mental symptom as a principal prescription. Otherwise, in the out of 105 cases, majority time it was either physical general or a physical particular symptom, and on the basis of that the prescription was based, right? So this particular portion, this particular portion I would like to demonstrate that this portion should be conveyed to the fraternity also, to the student also, to the teachers also, that it is not always, I'm not at all against the Kantian philosophy, or I don't want to criticize, but I'm trying to show the other aspect of Dr. J.T. Cancer, right? When we retrospectively observing the lesser writing, whatever the 111 cases which we have come across, where there is only six cases were only negotiated with a mental symptom. Otherwise, rest of the other things were dealt with by J.T. Kant and his disciple on the basis of apart from a mental symptom. So this is a very important thing which I think which is not properly percolated to the fraternity, and by which it is giving us a more chance to study about J.T. Kant and his literature, and where he is going to, where we are going to be assured what amount of importance which is given to the mental symptom. Lastly, I would like to correlate that particular portion of a Swedenborgian which is in relation to the Dr. J.T. Kent. Right? So from 1688 to 1772, he was the first who anticipated the existence of neuron in a human body, concepted the existence of cerebral cortex, cerebrospinal fluid, function of the pituitary and the connection of the frontal part of a brain with the intellect. Swedenborg became much interested in the spiritual matters and become a strong-minded to find a theory that can explain how matter relates to the spirit. He came out with the theory of three, Swedenborg. According to him, there are three levels of mind in every human. The sensual mind represents the instinct and sensory perception. The second level, that is emotional mind, representing affection and feeling. And the third level of mind, that is rational mind, representing the capacity to make a judgment. Then Charles Semple wrote a lot on a Swedenborgian theological and ecclesiastic texts. Another famous homeopath, William Henry Holcomb, converted to be a Swedenborgian, and most of the homeopaths become Swedenborgian by the 1840s. There were 850 Swedenborgian in America, but by the 1870 it increases by 18,700. So this is the portion which was given by a Swedenborgian, which becomes a part of Kant. You cannot divorce medicine and theology. The external man is but an outward expression of the internal. So the result of a disease are but outward expression of internal sickness. So that is why Kant has divided his mind into three categories: will, understanding, and intellect. Majority time, very few people are able to explain in detail that the what amount of influence which was owned by J.T. Kant as far as Swedenborgian philosophy is concerned. So these are the particular portion which was identified by the Swedenborgian in the 16th and 17th century, and further it was enhanced, upgraded, and updated by J.T. Kant. And that is why if you consider this particular real understanding and intellect, divide symptom for the evolution as general, particular, and common potency scale as octaves in the series of degree, like 30, 200, 1M, 10M, 50M, lot of. So that is first portion. And second portion, that the development of a psychology, right, which is initially started with the structuralism, then comes the functionalism, then behaviorism, but finally when Sigmund Freud came, where he have emphasized on the study of an unconscious mind. A very interesting fact that the Freud's masterpiece, the interpretation of dreams, was published in 1900, and in the same year, Lecture of Homeopathic Philosophy was also published by Kant side. So we
Excuse
must
me, sir,
remember
only-
that the
sir, excuse me, sir,
Yes,
only
sir.
8 minutes remaining. So, sir, only a few minutes remaining, sir.
yeah, sir. It is now going to be completed, sir. 5 minutes will be given for the discussion.
Okay, okay.
So this is the particular portion of Dr. J.T. Kent, who is considered as the best legend after Dr. Samuel Hahnemann. So this is a great opportunity for me also to conclude in this way that whatever the work which was done by Dr. J.T. Kent afterwards, or whatever the work which was done by Dr. Samuel Hahnemann, the greatest work which was done by J.T. Kent under the influence of Swedenborgian, and the masterpiece which we can observe in the form of Materia Medica also, Organon also, and even in the repertory field also. So that concludes the official session, sir.
Yes, thank you. It was really a magic and tiny and sweet, tiny pills. Thank you for your presentation. It's time for discussion. 5 or 6 minutes remaining. I think our honorable guest, Dr. Beatrice Madam, is really interested to talk something. Yes, sir. Madam, please.
Yes. Yes, thank you very much. And really a very, very interesting session, and very important for us as homeopathic doctors to understand that background. So Dr. Nirav, to tell you, I was a student of allopathic medicine, and in the age of
Okay.
25, I met the Kent. Here's a book. And I did like it so much, the lectures, because he was explaining in a nice form the pictures of all the suffering and the patient. So without him, I'm sure, if I would have started with biological, perhaps I would not have become a homeopath. But with him, yes. But second, one very important point. It's good to Dr. Kent is totally right to explain that the spirit is so important and will create symptoms and disease. That's totally right. But the other side, to say to our patients, it's your fault yet that you have a disease, that is a matter of discussion. I never would like to do this. So thank you so much. And please, if it would be possible to share that very interesting article about
Sure, ma'am, sure.
Yes, please. Very important, because people always say, Dr. Kent, he's so much only with the mind symptoms. And that's not true. You showed this. Very important point, very important work. Thank you very much from Germany. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And I think there is a point that how this newborn or the infants were affected with chronic diseases. Even though there is no much thinking or willing or acting, they got diseases. So it cannot be explained in this philosophy. So we have to look upon the East, the Indian philosophy. Definitely that will give the answer. Otherwise it is can't. Then you can see the Hahnemann's reflections on this subject. The second edition, I think the first or second edition of Our Ground, the 17th, for some 17 footnotes. There is a beautiful footnote is there. I think Dr. Beatrice Nesner, Madam, you can refer that again and again and reflect on that. Definitely give more insights on that topic. Then I have a question about that, sir. What are the basic difference between these lesser writings and minor writings? Because I just referred all these things, I can't find much difference in these two things.
That minor writing was explained by one of the student of a JT Kent. That is there in the references also. So whatever the exclusive work which was done by JT Kent, later on the collective material got published in a form of a minor writing, and where he have given a certain references. So I have tried to compile all this and trying to prove the another aspect of JT Kent, which is, I think, need of time to explain to the fraternity also. And a certain amount of research is also likely to be done retrospectively to identify such type of things which will be utilized by the homeopathic fraternity.
Yes, there is a reference in the Bible. Man does not live with bread alone, but with the words that proceed from the mouth of God.
Right, sir.
Yes, that is the
Yes.
most suitable quoting from, I think. Then again, you mentioned about the spiritual sickness, the emotional causes. Then, of course, Hanuman mentioned that chronic disease, they will not be caused by this exciting causes. These are too insignificant to cause the disease to continue for years and progress it year by year. 206 footnote, I think, it is mentioned there. So the miasmatic background is there. Dr. Sevgi, are you there? Do you have any comments on this, Dr. Sevgi? Now settled in Canada, Dr. Sevgi. Yes, please.
Hi. Thank you so much. It's very interesting session and I like it very much. Dr. Kant's theory books is very, very important for us. I remember that Dr. Spinelli and his teacher, Dr. Künzli, translate the theory of Kant's, and this book is very important, he said before, and read it about this book. I understand basically the Kant's thinking, the thinking of Kant's thoughts, and I learned a lot of things about the Heinemann's and Kant's mainly explain all of this essential of the homeopathy organon, and the other's book is the theory of homeopathy, Dr. Kant's book, the students' lectures and philosophy, Kant philosophy books. Thank you, Doctor.
Yes.
It's a very wonderful session.
Okay, it is a time to wind up our session. May I invite Dr. Beatrice Chestner from Germany to express sort of thanks. Madam, please.
Yes, thank you. And Dr. Nirav, it was a very, very special session. It would be also interesting to continue with the topic, for us as homeopathic doctors. And one thing I really can assure, I never met a homeopathic homeopath or homeopathic doctor who was not spiritual.
Right.
No matter what kind, but all of us, we have that spiritual connection. And
Right.
so that's also so nice to have that great family and
Absolutely.
understanding. And I'm talking from Germany to India, and I feel you understand me, and perhaps you feel that I understand you.
Agreed.
That's
100%
something very,
agreed.
very special. So thank you also very much for pointing out that subject. Thank you very much for coming. Always a great pleasure to be with IFPH, to have such nice lectures. And all the best for your work and your life. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes,
Thank you.
when Ken mentions about that, the human body is where the man is residing. There's the house.
It's the big house and right.
Yes.
Understanding
You can
resides.
see in Bhagavad Gita, idam shariram kaunteya kshetramityavidiyade. This the body is a temple where you reside.
Yes,
Similar to
100%.
philosophy, there is no doubt that.
Temple,
Just
yes,
comment,
yes.
let me remark, let me conclude today's English edition. Hope
Yeah, thank you very much, sir, for your kind cooperation, and thank you to IFPH for providing such a platform.
Yes.
It is an honor to be a part of IFPH, sir.
Yes. We will meet again tomorrow. Till then, goodbye. And Dr. Mariama John to continue the program in Malayalam. Thank you.
Okay.